is the difference between GTmetrix and page speed insights? Well, nothing really. It's just the way they present the information. GTmetrix, I think, is a much nicer graphical interface. It's more of a kind of right now, what's happening. It's another reason why I like to run it a couple different times. If you run it, let's say, at a high time of the day, maybe like 9 a.m., 5, 6 p.m., it might be slower than if you're out at 3 in the morning on a Sunday, because there's less traffic on the web and so on. So I do like to run them both at the same time. The one thing about page speed insights is that if you don't have enough traffic, enough mobile traffic, it's going to not show you that mobile traffic section. It's going to, not the user section, but the actual users are getting. It's going to give you lab data, and their lab data is almost always going to be slower and harder to come by. GTmetrix tends to be right now. But as I mentioned, I think during the session, it's always better to run GTmetrix in like a clear browser. What I mean by that, if I go back to my my browser here, and I don't mean an incognito. I actually go up to this little icon on my face here, and I go to Guest. Guest has none of my plugins installed at all. I'll now log into GTmetrix, and I'll run it this way. Because some of these tools look at your page, right? Like this tool here, if I go to like this Ahref tool, this is going to show me like what the meta title and description are and some other information about the page. So in essence, it might be slowing things down because it's kind of interacting with the page, right? And so I don't like to run these tools in a browser with a lot of extensions in it, right? Different, especially with my extensions. I'm doing a lot of different things SEO-wise. I have a lot. I mean, I have all these are my ones that you can see that I've pinned. I've had other ones that you can't see that aren't pinned. And so they all take up space. They all take up time. Just like plugins slow things down in WordPress, these kind of things can slow things down a little bit and they'll give you the best option. So I like to run them separately and get the information from there. So they both provide a bunch of information. I think Page Speed Insights is a bit more developer heavy, whereas GTmetrix tends to be a bit more user-friendly on the front, and then you can kind of dig deep underneath by looking at the waterfall and the other things that we showed you in the session.